I'm in Saint-Étienne in France, and this is the Iulius Guitars Orchestra by Giuliano Nicoletti. As the name suggests, the orchestra is an orchestra model, or OM, but it has 13 frets to the neck joint rather than the standard 14. There's another video on my channel about why you should check out 13 fret guitars. They're a real sweet spot between a 14 and a 12 fret instrument. The orchestra has a pretty standard OM body shape, that beautiful curvaceous design that we all know and love. But there is a lot of very modern and clever thinking that's gone into the creation of this guitar. But before we get into that, let's have a look at the woods used in this guitar. For the back and sides, we have a spectacular set of Cameroon ebony. The soundboard of the instrument is made from European alpine spruce, from the Jura mountains of France, in fact. And this beautifully carved neck is made from FSC certified Central American mahogany. This guitar features what Giuliano calls an overhang neck design. This design means that a heel on the neck is no longer necessary, and the curve of the soundboard, in conjunction with that 13 fret neck joint that we talked about earlier, gives you amazing access to the top frets, even without a cutaway. The ebony motif is repeated through the headstock, the fretboard, and pinless bridge. And there's a set of Goto 510s in Cosmo Black, which are my favourite tuners in my favourite colour. There's a maple veneer on the back of the headstock with some subtle bird's eye, and the same wood is used on the truss rod cover, and what looks like a butt wedge, but isn't, and what looks like a neck joint, but isn't. As I mentioned before, there's some very forward-thinking scientific stuff going on in the design of this guitar. Giuliano himself is a professional acoustic engineer. So with every Iulius guitar, you get a free one of these. Let's see how this works. Under this maple, here we have a little secret compartment. We stick this on here, and lift it up. The neck is a bolt-on design, and it can be accessed from in here. It's all very tidy. Also, when the time comes, Giuliano's working on a very exciting preamp, and the batteries for that will live in here too. But this is a truly multi-purpose tool. As I mentioned before, there's another beautiful piece of bird's eye maple in the butt wedge, and that hides another surprise. This is what Giuliano calls the external tuning slot, or ETS. And it allows you to, get this, tune the resonant frequency of the monopole of the soundboard of the guitar. The main purpose of this design is to avoid what we know as wolf tones on the instrument. This is a term used to describe weak notes on the fretboard that seem to just drop off and disappear before they should. And this extraordinary design is the first of its kind in the world. When he's not making beautiful acoustic guitars, Giuliano is an acoustic engineer for a company that specializes in extraordinarily detailed near-field monitors for recording studios and hi-fi speakers. This is a man who knows what he's talking about when it comes to sound, and in particular the way that sound works within boxes made out of wood. It's his speciality, and let's face it, that's a pretty accurate description of an acoustic steel string guitar. Everything about the design of this instrument is intended to maximize the vibrating surface area of the soundboard. From the beautiful lines of the offset sound hole to the proprietary bracing pattern that goes into these instruments. The back of this guitar is designed to be an active part of the acoustic response, and you can really feel it moving against you. Like many guitars with an offset sound hole, the player gets a lot more information than they would with a traditional guitar design. But unlike a lot of instruments that I've played with this design, it's not overpowering, and it doesn't feel like it's affecting the intensity and nuances of your picking hand attack. It's a very dynamic instrument. Yes, it does have a lot of headroom should you wish, but playing quietly is still very rewarding. The notes are full and fat and rich. The combination of this rich range of timbres and wide dynamic possibilities make for an instrument that feels really cohesive from the initial attack all the way to the dying out of the note. I've really enjoyed my time with this fascinating instrument, and I hope you've enjoyed this video too. There's more about Giuliano and his work in another video on my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay tuned.